Hi, I'm Sharon Harrell, Community Engagement Manager at the Detroit Institute of Arts. Thank you for tuning into Black History Month events at the DIA. Black History Month programming is made possible with the generous support of Arn and Nancy Tellum, with additional support from TD Bank. Welcome to Wine Down Wednesdays, a cocktail and cooking event showcasing African American chefs and mixologists. The program will start with video demonstrations, followed by a live discussion and Q&A. Tonight, the category is poultry. Chef Angela Michelle will prepare chicken and waffles, and mixologist Devan Clark will pair that dish with the perfect cocktail. As you enjoy the demonstrations, please enter your comments in the section. Now let's get started with Chef Angela Michelle, and followed by mixologist Devan Clark.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chef Angela Michelle. It's great to see you all here. Thank you for taking my virtual cooking class. Today, we are making one of my husband's favorites, chicken and waffles. So it's funny, he called me while I was getting ready for class and I said something. He's like, "Oh, you're making chicken and waffles?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, good, I'm excited now." I'm like, "You weren't excited before." But anyway, so he's excited about chicken and waffles class. This is definitely one of his favorite dishes. And hopefully after this session, it will be one of your faves as well. We need to get started cooking the chicken. That's like the number one thing we need to do first, right? Now, I also have a degree in plant-based nutrition. And one of the things I love to use is turmeric. It's great for inflammation. So I try to get it in wherever I can. I put it in my smoothies and my salad dressing. So this is an opportunity for me to add it to the batter to my chicken. This is optional. Okay, I like to drop little nuggets as I go along, and this is one of those nuggets. So now I'm just going to give this a little whisk. I want to make sure everything is mixed in there together very well. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on my pan that I'm going to cook all of this in, because it needs to preheat. So I'm using a cast iron pan right here, a pretty large cast iron pan, by the way, and it has no oil in it. Okay, nothing at all. I want this to preheat. So you have to be very careful with cast iron. But because it holds heat, it cooks everything so beautifully and evenly. And on our chicken, it's going to leave like a nice golden brown hue to it. All right, so now we have our oil in our hot pan. So that doesn't take long for the oil to heat up. So I'm going to show you the process here. Be very careful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a chicken wing. I'm going to give it a nice shake, because I want to shake off any excess liquid I have on there. Okay, shake off any excess liquid. And then what you want to do is you want to put it in your coating. I'm going to rinse my hands again, guys. Sorry. You want to put it in the coating and make sure it gets evenly coated on all sides. Okay, evenly coated on all sides, even if you have to pick up some of it and sprinkle it on top like that. Okay, and then shake off the excess. You want to make sure you shake off the excess. You don't want extra crumbs floating at the bottom of our pan. Let me rinse this hand again. Now I'm going to take this wing over to my skillet right here, and I'm going to drop it in there gently. Be very careful. And you should have a light sizzle going on, just like that. See that light sizzle? Okay, when you dropped it in, it didn't explode, it didn't set on fire. It also just didn't sit there in cold grease. All right, a light sizzle is what we're looking for. All right, now I want to show you what my chicken looks like. So I'm going to put the camera on my pan, and there you have it. There it is cooking away in my pan. Let me see, I have my tongs right here. I think this was the first one I put down. It is, so it's ready to turn. So you see what I mean about a light golden color? Can you guys see that? Yep. That's what you're going for. Sit there, let it brown, and then turn it to the other side. Okay, and it's looking quite nice. So while the chicken's hanging out, and we're gonna keep an eye on it, don't worry. But while the chicken's hanging out, we need to start working on the batter for our waffle. I have my food processor here with my cooked and cooled sweet potato. Cooked and cooled sweet potato. Now, I'm gonna add some cinnamon, some vanilla, and some milk to this. Move my food processor in, plug it up. Doo-doo-doo. Make sure that blade is on tight. I like to give it a little shake. That's just what I do. All right, and then blend it up till it's a puree. I am going to bring in my waffle iron because it takes a second for the waffle iron to heat up. So while we're actually mixing together the batter for our waffle iron needs to be preheated. So this is what I'm going to mix everything up in for our batter for our waffles. So far we have our dry ingredients in our bowl. I'm going to mix my wet ingredients in another container and just give it a little whisk just to kind of break up that egg yolk. All right, now we're going to add it to our dry ingredients. So pour your wet into your dry. Now that sweet potato puree, remember that stuff we mixed up? That goes right in here as well. Oh, look at the color on that guy. Beautiful, beautiful. So go ahead and get your puree right in there as well. That lovely sweet potato puree. Get it right in there with the flour and all of the dry ingredients. And we've added our wet ingredients, which was milk, oil, and egg. Now we're adding our puree. I try and I'm not leaving any behind. I'm sorry. It's too good to leave behind. I want that around the blade as well. Don't judge me, okay? There we go. Now I'm gonna use my whisk to mix this together. Get it mixed together well. All right, now I'm gonna pull it up so you can see. So it moves, it's liquidy, but you can tell it has some form to it. It's not total liquid. It has some stiffness to it. My waffle iron is golden. It's ready to go. So let's go ahead and get this waffle in so it can cook while I'm finishing up my chicken. So I'm gonna lift the lid, and I have some nonstick spray here, just some regular spray. But I'm gonna spray it liberally, right? Just when you think you got enough, spray a little more. We've worked too hard on this batter for it to get stuck in the waffle iron, okay? So I'd rather you have a little bit more oil than not enough. You don't wanna overfill it. Okay, so that's one. And it's gonna get thick as it goes in and starts to cook. All right, and there's two. So I know this just for my waffle iron. I know everybody's waffle iron is a different size, but I go in with two and then I spread it out like this. Just kind of help it along a little bit. Okay, then once it gets nice and even, I go ahead, close it, I flip it, and I lock it. All right, and this green light right here is gonna let me know when it's done. Okay. So while that's doing its thing, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to finish off this chicken. Let's move this batter to the side. And I'm bringing a clean bowl in. I'm going to take my chicken up. Shake off any excess oil and just drop it right into that bowl. Now I'm going to go ahead and get that spice mix together. I'm going to bring it back over here. Because what I do is I sprinkle it on top of the chicken once it comes out of the pan. All right, so it has flavor in the batter, but you're also gonna have flavor on the outside of it as well. Okay, so here's my little spice mix, right? I'm just gonna take pinches of it and just sprinkle it onto the chicken like this. Okay, just sprinkle it right on there. And again, this is onion, garlic, paprika. Mine has a little bit of white pepper in it. And I hit it on both sides. Okay, so there's one side. Now I'm gonna turn it over. This adds another layer of flavor to your chicken. All right, when you season it before and after like this, and you can put on here whatever seasoning you want, right? If you're, let's say you wanna go a little Italian style, right? We use Italian breadcrumbs. You can use some Italian seasonings. So you can use garlic, you can use chopped up rosemary. That would be really good. See the little light right up there? It's ready. So I'm gonna move my chicken out the way. I'm gonna use my plate. Where's my plate? Here it is. All right, so I'm gonna unlock it, flip it back, lift it up, and ta-da! We have a perfect sweet potato waffle. And there she is, right in the center of our plate, just like that. All right, powdered sugar. And I like to put the sugar on the plate as well as the waffle, especially if you're using a colored plate, because it'll show up and it'll be all cute and stuff, right? So on the plate and the waffle. There we go. Let's get some more on that waffle, shall we? And you can put as little or as much as you like. All right. Now I'm going to go in with my chicken. Now, the thing with the chicken is I like to build a little TP with it. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me turn this back around here. Pull this out so you can see it. There we go. All right. So I'm going to make a little TP with my chicken. So I'm going to set my wings up. I'm going to set my wings up. So I have 1 and 2. Let me grab one more here. 1 and 2. Let's get a real good one. How about this guy? And 3. All right. So I build a little teepee just like that. So I have 3 wings on there. They're all sitting up just like that. Now, if it strikes your fancy, go ahead and add some more powdered sugar right on top of that chicken. All right, if it strikes your fancy, go ahead and add some more powdered sugar right on top of that chicken, just like that. Okay, now the next thing you want to do, this syrup right here, this sweet heat syrup, this hot honey syrup, drizzle it on top of the chicken, drizzle it on the waffle. Put as much or as little as you like. Put some crushed red pepper flakes on top of mine, just to add a little more layer of heat to it. Again, this is optional. You do not have to do this. And I put it on the chicken as well as the plate. Again, I'm trying to make it look cute, guys. Make it look cute. Now, I told you about that parsley, right? For color. This is strictly for color. Fresh strawberries right on the side. Again, make it look cute, guys. And there you have it. Here are your buttermilk fried chicken wings with your sweet potato waffles and your hot honey syrup with a side of strawberries.
Hello, I am Devan Clark, certified mixologist and owner of Quench Mobile Bartending, where we specialize in catering the best cocktails for private and corporate events all over Metro Detroit and surrounding areas. And for those that crave our cocktails long after the party is over, we also have pre-made craft cocktails available for purchase, weekly delivery in Metro Detroit, and shipping to most states in the U.S. Now that I've introduced myself, let's dive in. Welcome to Wine Down Wednesdays. So on today's segment, we're going to be pairing a cocktail with poultry. While there are an array of spirits that pair well with poultry, I chose whiskey. Not just any whiskey, but Crown Royal. I don't know about you all, but the purple bag, the infamous purple bag, was a staple in my household growing up. Crown Royal is definitely one of my favorite whiskeys, and I'm not the only one. It is the #2 selling whiskey in the USA, and it is #1 in Canada. It's super smooth to taste, and the savory preparations of any chicken or poultry definitely brings out the vanilla, the fruit flavors, and the smokiness of this brown spirit. So let's make a cocktail, shall we? Today we are making the Royal Lemonade. All right, for this cocktail, you're gonna need these things. You'll need a jigger. My jigger is 1 ounce on one side, 2 ounces on the other. You can use whatever jigger you have on hand. You're going to need a tin shaker or any type of shaker. You'll need a Collins glass. Any cocktail glass would do. I prefer a Collins because you want that room to create your cocktail and add all the ingredients. We're gonna also be using Crown Royal, of course. I love, love, love the Crown Royal bottle. It's super regal. And a fun fact about this bottle is Queen Elizabeth visited Canada, and I believe it was 1939. Fact check. She visited Canada, and the Canadians created this bottle to commemorate her visit. So this bottle was created just for Queen Elizabeth, and it's been the bottle ever since. So I thought that was a cool fun fact about Crown Royal. We're going to be using Cointreau, which is an orange liqueur. You can use any triple sec that you have on hand because Cointreau is on the pricier side, but it is my preference. So again, Cointreau or any triple sec that you have. Then you need your lemon juice. Here we have fresh squeezed lemon juice. I skipped a step. Instead of making a simple syrup, I literally just add sugar directly to my lemon juice to sweeten it. Sweeten your lemon juice to taste. Start with maybe a teaspoon or so and go from there. I happen to like mine really sweet. That's just my preference. Make your lemon juice the way that you like it. Last, we'll need garnish. All you really need is a lemon. I added some cherries here because cherries are my thing. All right, so first we're gonna add some ice to our shaker. All right, we're gonna take our Crown Royal and our jigger. I like a long pour, so we're gonna do 2 ounces of Crown. If you do not like a long pour, you can shorten it to 1.5 ounces, but trust me. So that's 2 ounces of Crown Royal. We're gonna flip this over to the 1 ounce side. And we're gonna do 1 ounce of Cointreau or any triple sec that you have on deck, okay? Again, triple sec is an orange liqueur, so it's giving it a nice orange flavor. And it does have alcohol content. Last, we're gonna add our fresh lemon juice with sugar, and we're gonna do 2.5 ounces. We're gonna do 2.5 ounces of fresh lemon juice. So we're gonna eye that 1/2 ounce. So this is 2 here, right? I'm gonna flip this over and I'm just gonna eye it, fill it up about halfway. We're gonna shake. You want to shake your tin until it's cold. You want your tin to have like this condensation. You want to make sure it's cold. All right, and I think we have it. So then we're going to get our Collins glass. We're going to fill this baby with ice. Fill her up. All right. 1 shake for good measure. That is a perfect pour. It's beautiful. Now we're gonna add our garnish, which I have a lemon wheel here. And a cherry. I'm gonna put that in and take a sip. Guys, this is so good. The reason why I chose the Royal Lemonade cocktail is because 1, whiskey does pair well with the poultry, but who doesn't like a nice refreshing glass of lemonade with your chicken? I hope you guys enjoyed this segment. If you made this cocktail or plan on making this cocktail, please be sure to follow us on Instagram. Be sure to tag us. We would love to see your cocktails. We would love to share with our followers. And I will see you guys in just a few minutes. Cheers.
Welcome back. You know, I love it when she says, guys, it's so good. So anyway, welcome back. And I hope you guys enjoyed the cooking and cocktail presentations. Now, please welcome Angela Michelle, Chef Angela Michelle, and mixologist Devan Clark. Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, Devin, every time I see that video and you says, guys, that is so good, it really makes you want to take a drink of that right away.
Yes. It's amazing. It's a great cocktail, so I hope everyone tries it.
And Angela, the chicken and waffles, you know, I'm starving right now, so I really would love to have some right this second. So before we get started, let's tell us about yourselves. Let's go with you, Angela.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Chef Angela Michelle. Great to see you all here. I have actually been cooking for all my life since I was 6. I grew up in a household where my mom was a professional cook and dad was a chef. So I honestly got the love of cooking like in my blood. I feel like I was born to do it. And even though I've always cooked, I spent 25 years as a fashion and runway model. And then when I quote unquote retired, that's when I heard the call to cook and I started Culinary Kisses, and the rest is history.
Sounds good. Devin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Devin. I'm owner of Quench Mobile Bartending Service. As you all saw in the video, in addition to doing mobile bartending, private and corporate events all over Metro Detroit, we're also known for our amazing pre-made handcrafted cocktails, very popular here in the city. And yeah, so we deliver those weekly. And then we also do the event. So you can order them online. That's what I'm having right now. I'm actually having a margarita right now to like bring my nerves down a little bit. So
I actually need that afterwards.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just like, whoo, let me calm down a little bit. So yes.
I get tongue tied. So, you know, let's get into the food and drink. So Angela, you chose chicken. We had categories.
Yes.
You chose chicken. So
yes.
Tell me the significance of chicken and waffles. Why it's so loved by everyone.
And you're right, Sharon. It is actually loved by everyone. I do virtual cooking classes. I actually was the first chef to ever offer the service over 9 years ago. And it has steadily been one of my most favorite and requested classes out of everything that I offer. And I have like 30 plus menus that I offer. But chicken and waffles is one that I do almost every single week. It's loved by all. It's interesting about chicken because fried chicken, there are a lot of scholars that try to figure out where it originated, and especially the combination of chicken and waffles, which is like a great culinary duo, right? It came down to the fact that it was developed in a restaurant in Harlem. That's what a lot of people believe, even though technically it hasn't been proven. And that was in the 1930s. And then in the 1940s, Colonel Sanders came up with his chicken recipe for fried chicken. And then by the 1950s, everyone was on fried chicken. So it has a long history, but yeah, it was believed that chicken and waffles originated in Harlem in the 1930s.
I didn't know that, but I know that everyone loves it. You can find chicken and waffles in every single state.
You can.
You can, absolutely. So Devin, there's a question from Tiffany, and she wants to know about some of the flavors. And so I'm not quite sure. Maybe talk about the different flavors that you can use for that particular drink.
For the Crown lemonade.
Yeah, like are there any other flavors that you can use to change that drink up? Possibly. I'm kind of guessing.
Yeah, I'm assuming that she's talking about the pre-made cocktail flavors.
Oh, okay. That makes so much more sense.
Yes, that's my assumption. And we do have an array of cocktails. You can change that cocktail up to go back to the feature cocktail.
Okay.
You can change that cocktail up with any type of fruit juice you like. So I used lemonade. You know, if you want to press any other type of juice and sweeten it, you can do that, and I'm sure it'll be just as good. To answer Tiffany's question, we have 8 different cocktails. We have 8 different cocktail flavors. We have tequila, we have 2 vodkas, we even have tequila and vodka blends. We have 2 different cognacs, and we have rum. We in the fall we do a whiskey, we do a crown apple. So we literally have something for everybody on our cocktail menu. So be sure to check us out, Tiffany. Be sure.
And another question I want to ask you about drinks is, you did a long drink today, but can you tell us about an aperitif that would go well with poultry?
Absolutely. For those that don't know what an aperitif cocktail is, it is it's like an appetizer, but for drinks. So you have like a starter meal for your food, which is an appetizer, and then for cocktails you have the same thing, which is an aperitif cocktail. An aperitif cocktail is typically just light, something light that gets you ready for food, and it usually relaxes the diner. One of my favorite aperitif cocktails is called a Mexican 75. It is a spin on the popular cocktail French 75, but for the Mexican 75, use tequila. So how you make this cocktail is you get about 2 ounces of tequila, you put a splash of fresh lemon or lime juice, whatever you prefer, and then you top that with champagne. You serve that right in the champagne flute, and it's so refreshing, so good, and it definitely relaxes the diner. So that would be an aperitif cocktail that you can pair with almost anything, but especially chicken.
I'm actually just learning to get my my home bar together, so I'm getting ideas already.
Yes.
So one of the questions we have from Nancy is about the type of chicken that you use for chicken and waffles. If you're not too keen on chicken wings, can you use chicken breast?
Good question. Yes, you can actually use chicken breast. The only reason why I use chicken wings is because it goes well with the timing for the waffles. If you do chicken breast, you can either cook them whole, you can butterfly them, or you can cut them into strips. And yeah, you can actually do it not only on the cooktop, but you can grill or put them in the oven. So there are several ways that you can prepare chicken. You can use chicken legs. I've done that before. You can use chicken thighs. So yes, you could definitely use a variety of chicken for this dish. Everything works very well.
I have another question for you. You mentioned that you were raised on a farm for a certain period of time. So
Yes.
how did being raised on a farm influence your culinary practices?
Oh, wow. So I spent, it was a variety of time. So it was my grandmother and my aunt, and they stayed about 35 minutes, 40 minutes north of where I grew up. And I was up there quite often, especially in the summertime. And I loved it. I mean, I did everything from help with the land to plant the seed to, it was okay, we're going to have beans for dinner. Let's go out and pick beans, literally. And then you cook them and have them on your stove, and you had them for supper. Back then it was called supper, right? So it helped me so much because I have a true passion for fresh ingredients. Like, I am an advocate of the farm to table concept. And before COVID, I traveled all over the world, and I learned from different farmers, different home cooks, different chefs about authentic ingredients. And that just kind of accelerated my love of fresh food. But it started as a child. It started with my family on the farm.
So really quick, before I get back to Devin, I have to ask you, are there any particular farmers markets that you go to?
I am an advocate. My husband would tell you this. I am an advocate of the Detroit Farmers Market. I tell everyone about it. Easter Market. And they're just like, oh, there she goes again. Like, I love Easter Market. I've done cooking demonstrations there, but you will find me there just about any weekend because they're open all year long of the year. Love, love, love Easter Market.
Well, Devin, so how did you really get your start in mixology? There's very few women that I know of, and I really just heard the term mixology very recently. So how did you get into this field?
So how I got into this field actually was I have an uncle who actually owns a small venue spot here in Detroit. And when he would have large parties, he would say, "Hey, Dev, come on, I need some help behind the bar." So I just would go out to help family and, get behind the bar. But while doing that, I found that I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. I'm making good drinks back here, So I said, "Hey, why don't I try to?" I'm always looking for ways to make extra money and ways I could bring extra money in. And so I said, "Hey, maybe this is something I can try." So I went ahead and got certified. And my plan was honestly to get a second job, like pick up a second job at a bar or a restaurant just to bring in some extra cash. Once I started filling out those applications, I'm like, I don't want to clock 2 clocks. And, it didn't seem that glamorous anymore. Once I actually got certified, that's when I decided that the mobile bartending may be a lane that I may want to try. And I was just trying it, and it became something that was just for me. I really, really enjoy bartending. I really enjoy making good cocktails that people enjoy. It really makes people happy. I love when I mix a cocktail and people are like, "Oh my God, this is good," like shockingly good, because anybody can put some liquor in a cup with some juice, and call it a cocktail. But when people taste my drinks and they're like, "Oh my God, this is really good," it really brings me great joy. But that is how.
I'm sorry, but you made me start thinking about the panel we just had on Sunday, and it's about business. And so in terms of establishing Quench mobile bartending as a business, can you give me like one step that you took to make this happen?
Okay, so first thing that I did was it was something I took very seriously out of the gate. And so the first thing that I did was legitimize it, get that EIN behind me so that I can't. A lot of people don't know when starting a business that you don't get those business benefits if your business is not legit. There's so many, great opportunities and things for businesses. And, a lot of people who are doing well with their side hustles could be getting a whole lot more benefits if they would, take it a little bit more serious and legitimize it. And so that was one of the first things that I did was make it legit, get my EIN number and things like that. So, and I got certified. That was another thing. You don't have to technically be certified to be a mixologist or to mix cocktails, right? But the extra education and things like that really, really helped. So those are actually two things that I did when starting this business, was decided that I wanted to be a professional and getting certified and legitimizing my business.
And I have one more question I have to ask you, Devin, before we go on to Angela. But Melanie asked, if you were a cocktail, what cocktail would you be? I had to ask that one, right?
Yes, I love that question. And I am without a doubt a margarita with a bite. I'm a strong margarita. When you think of margarita, you definitely think of the ladies, right? It's like a ladies classic drink, and that's definitely something that I am. But I do have that bite. And so I'd say I'm a margarita. I love a sweet margarita with a sugared rim, with a long tequila pour. So I'd say a margarita. And I'm actually having one right now. It's like, it's literally my favorite cocktail. So Melanie, I am a marg for sure.
And so Angela, when I read your history, you've traveled all over, and you picked up some things throughout your travels, and you mentioned turmeric. So can you tell us some of the places you've gone, and can you tell us some of the spices that you use often, and that 3 spices that you picked up from your travels that you use often?
Wow. So I would have to say one is smoked paprika. I am in love with smoked paprika. Everything from the color to the smokiness, how it enhances your food. And that came from my travels to Spain, to Barcelona. I now kind of took some of those recipes and brought them home and kind of tweaked them and revamped a lot of them and came up with my own recipes for a line of Spanish tapas and authentic paella and sangria, of course. But from Spain, I would definitely have to say it is, ooh, wow, saffron is another one, though. That's another great one that I absolutely love. Let's see. I'd probably from Cuba would be cumin. I love cumin. And again, you see where I'm going with this. It's the earthiness, it's the smokiness that I love in foods. And wow, let me see. What would my third one be? My third one would probably be onion. I had a dish, I can't recall the name of it now, but I had a dish in Amsterdam, and it was based with caramelized onions on the bottom of it, and it was just absolutely perfection. So I definitely think onions is a good spice or a seasoning you can use as well.
Well, you know what? I really should not be doing this when I'm hungry at all because my mouth is watering. You know, but I'm thinking about these spices, and I can imagine that some of these spices go good with cocktails as well. Is that true? Do you use spices in your cocktails, Devin?
You can use spices in your cocktail. You can definitely use spices in your cocktail. That's a very popular thing. It's a new popular thing to add the jalapenos to your cocktail and make a spicy cocktail. So the flavor profile for cocktails it's a wide array of things you can do with cocktails. I know you we had a conversation and you mentioned bitters, not understanding or knowing what bitters is. And bitters is a cocktail preparation and contains no alcohol, right? But it's usually infused with a plant or botanical matter. And so typically cocktails are sweet or sour, and you would use bitters to even that out, balance it out. It makes your cocktail more complex, giving it a complex flavor. And it's very spicy. If anybody has ever had bitters, you know that it's really spicy. It gives you a lot of spice, and it gives me like a licorice. Like it kind of tastes like licorice a little bit, and it makes your cocktail spicy. So yes, you can use spices. You can use cinnamon. Cinnamon is very popular in cocktails. Then you can get into herbs. I like to use rosemary in cocktails, and I make a very good grapefruit cocktail, and the rosemary complements that cocktail very, very well. So yes, spices in cocktails are a go.
And so, Angela, because your father was a chef, right? And you grew up on a farm like we talked about, are there any culturally significant or family recipes that inspire you or were your inspiration?
Wow. For me, I think that was probably making bread, like making homemade bread, whether it's a loaf or biscuits. I had that experience with my mom, my grandmother, my aunts. So for me, that held true because now when I travel, I learn how to make all different kinds of bread, everything from injera, which is African, to naan, which is popular with Thai food. And, you know, even with beignets, I recently did a film to show where I was making beignets. And it was for Mardi Gras, which we just celebrated. But I think it's the bread for me. It's just the homemade bread coming fresh out of the oven. Maybe put some butter, maybe some homemade marmalade or jam on there. And I am making myself hungry.
Yes. And me too.
But it's the bread for me, right, Devin?
Yes. Yes, it's the devil.
Oh my God. No, I think we all need to get together and have chicken and waffles and your drink. That's what we need to do.
Yes. Agreed.
Yes, yes.
And so I have a question for both of you guys. So, or both of you all. What is a staple in terms of equipment? Like, what is it one tool that you really think is necessary for a home bar, and what tool is necessary or really significant in a kitchen that everyone should have? I know every Black person I know has a skillet. So in addition to that, what should we have in our kitchen? We can go with Devin. Yeah.
I'll start. Honestly and truly, for your home bar, you honestly don't need a ton of tools to make a good cocktail. I'd say what we use today, because I try to make it pretty basic for, people who wouldn't have all the extravagant tools and things like that, just laying around. So I use the shaker and I literally use the jigger. That if you have a jigger for measuring, if you're looking up cocktail recipes and things like that, they're usually going to give you measurements. So that jigger will ensure that you have your measurements down. And then if you have a shaker, even the shaker is optional. You can literally use a spoon to like get that cocktail mixed up. So like you literally need minimal to mix a cocktail. But I'd say that jigger and shaker are good things to have on your home bar.
When I first made my first drink, I used my the hot cold tea thing, the coffee cup that you drink out of. I use that as a shaker.
Yeah, you can get innovative when you're making cocktails. It's like, hey, as long as you got those measurements together, you can get innovative in the kitchen.
Now, Angela, you talked about the skillet in the very, very beginning, and we know that. So you can talk more about that. But in addition to the skillet, give us at least one more that we need to have in our kitchen. Something else we need to have in our kitchen.
Okay. So yes, for me, it's the skillet. I love cast iron skillets. And again, that came from my family. My grandmother used them, my mom, my aunts, and that's where a lot of my influence came from. But don't get me wrong, my uncles can throw down in the kitchen too. They can cook just as well as my aunts and my grandma, right? Yeah. Like they can literally go in the kitchen and cook a full course meal and everything's done at the same time. But for me, it is cast iron. I love the diversity. You can cook anything in it from, you can make hash browns or potatoes to you can literally make a deep dish apple pie. You can do so many things with it, and it comes in a variety of sizes and shapes. So for me, cast iron is perfect. It holds heat. It's easy to clean. If I had to name off one other kitchen thing, it would probably be a rice cooker. I think it would be a rice cooker. I cook rice in my rice cooker. I cook quinoa in it. I cook pasta in it. So there's so many different, I cook oatmeal in it. There's so many things that you can use your rice cooker for besides just rice.
Good to know.
Yeah.
And I have another question for you, and it's about the skillet. So people talk about seasoning your skillet. What does that mean?
Yes. So when you first get a brand new cast iron skillet, you definitely want to season it. So that is sticking it in the oven at high temperature. And the more you cook with it, keep using it over and over and over again, it gets better and better. So it's getting more and more seasoned to it. And for easy to clean, you don't want to use soap with it. So you don't even really want to scrub it with like a Brillo pad or anything like that. You want to get off the food as much as you can with like a soft towelette. And you can even have like rings, like metal rings that you use to scrape off anything that's hard. And then you want to treat it with a little bit of oil. And that's it. That's all you want to do to store it. But the more you cook with it, the more it's seasoned, the better it is and the better it cooks. But yes, when you get a fresh new pan, you definitely need to stick it into a high heat oven and just let it go for 20 minutes or so. And that'll help start the seasoning process.
I actually was so afraid to season my skillet that I gave it to my mother to season. I'm like,
did you really? But they got done, so that's all that matters.
Right. So Devin, I got a couple of questions for you. So one question is, do you do any wine cocktails?
I don't bottle any wine cocktails, but I do like to make, when I'm entertaining, I like to make a froze. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or ever heard of that, but it's like a rose wine, like the pale pink rose wine, and you make it like a slushy, and then you add ice into the blender and you blend it up, and you have like a slushy rose, and they call it froze. And I like to add fruit juices to it. You can add any type of fruit juice that you have on hand. And then if the wine is not strong enough for you, you can even add, like a vodka or something to it to like amp it up a little bit. But that would be a go-to wine cocktail for me, as well as the sangria. I love a good sangria.
I love
You guys
sangria
ever
too.
been to Vicente's downtown Detroit? They have like the best sangria, and you can even get it to go. They'll like bottle it and get it to go. So that's at Vicente's. It's a Cuban restaurant downtown Detroit. I love their sangrias. So yes.
And I have one more question for you. So going back to establishing your business, what is something, if someone's looking to be a bartender, what advice can you give them?
Aside from going ahead and getting that additional training, I would say be confident, which the training helps you be confident. A lot of times when we're going into something new, you feel like everybody is an expert and you know nothing. Like you're on the bottom of the totem pole compared to somebody who's been doing it a little longer. Be confident. Everything is a learning experience. Everybody had to start somewhere, and don't be afraid to create opportunities for yourself. So when I first started mobile bartending, obviously people aren't lined up to book you for their events because they haven't seen what you can do. And so what I found myself doing a lot in the beginning of my mobile bartending career is throwing parties and creating gatherings and things like that where I could bartend and people could see what I'm doing, what I can do. And it gave me the confidence, and it made people look at me like an actual mobile bartender. And these were events that I was just creating for myself to showcase my skills and what I was trying to do. So that would be something that I would tell an up and coming mobile bartender is to be confident. And in the beginning, don't be afraid to just put yourself out there, even if you have to create your own opportunity just to show people what you can do.
So Angela, let's riff off of that with your business. So you've been doing your business for a while. So what kind of advice would you give to anyone who want to do what you're doing?
Well, I think I was one of those rare people. I actually started out in school and college as pre-med, and then I switched over to business. So you hear a lot of times people say they're not actually using their degree, but thank God I am in a position now to use my degree. So I do have a degree in business management. For me, I can kind of identify with what Devin said, because when I first mentioned virtual cooking classes, no one knew what they were. They had never heard of them before. Like, again, this is 9+ years ago. This was before Zoom. So I literally used a platform out of Europe. And what happened was I started working with people in Europe first because they were more open to the idea. Yeah, I'll give it a try. And I would record it. And then I would play snippets together and put together my own commercial. And then I started getting business from the US. So I definitely believe in creating opportunities for yourself. For me, it's also research. Doing the research and figuring out the information, the demographics, what are people looking for, right?
Yes.
That's extremely important as well. So I definitely agree with Devan's first 2 points. If I had to add on anything, it would be, like you said, getting the degree or certificate, definitely getting the business information and getting documentation, but also doing the research in your industry as well. Knowledge truly is power. It really is.
It is.
And I wanted to hear some shout outs, like some chefs that you follow, or mixologists that inspire you or that you follow. Just kind of give me a shout out of 3 or 4 people that you really can appreciate in your field. Devin.
There you go.
I'm sorry. So yeah, I would say somebody who has recently inspired me. He's new. He just jumped on the scene and he wanted to be a mobile bartender. And I mean new, I'm talking about a couple of months. And his name is, I actually wrote it down. It is intoxicated _by Mel. intoxicated_BYMEL by Mel. And he makes beautiful, beautiful cocktails. He's very consistent. Every day he's posting these beautiful cocktails and just putting himself out there. And he has them for sale and he's just doing his thing. So shout out to Intoxicated by Mel. He inspires me because I just love how he just dives in and put himself out there. I love that about him. In addition to that, someone else who I very recently started following was the Antil Tequila that is located right here in Michigan. She's a black lady who owns this tequila company, and it's called Antil, Anteel, Antil. I believe that's how you pronounce it, tequila. And she is from right here in Michigan. So that's a Black-owned tequila that I have recently been following. So I want to try that and maybe see if I can incorporate that in some of my cocktails, because I would love to use a Black-owned tequila that is from my home state. And lastly, I would say it is called, hold on, let me get it right. I don't want to say the wrong thing here. Her name is Lovely Wine. It is a Black-owned wine company. If you guys are looking for a Black-owned wine company, it is Lovely Wine. That is at LOVELEE Wine. Lovely Wine. She's Black-owned, and she is doing her thing as well, still fairly new. So check out all those people. They inspire me. They're putting themselves out there, and they're all Black-owned businesses.
Before we go on to Angela, I want you to spell the tequila. Antil, spell that again.
I believe it's ANTEEL.
I might have to look that up.
Yes, let me make sure that I write that down. Yes, it is. So it's ANTEEL tequila. Yes.
Great. That was for me.
Look that up. That she's Black-owned and it's a tequila brand, and she is like doing her thing. So check her out.
What about you, Angela? Some African American chefs that you appreciate or follow?
Yes, mine is more old school. One chef I absolutely love, and I've had the pleasure of meeting not once but twice in my life, is Marcus Samuelson. So yeah, right. To me, he's just the ultimate. And the fact that I've actually met him a couple of times, and he's just the nicest guy ever. Funny story. One time I met him. I'm at Eastern Market getting ready to do my little shopping thing, right? I'm walking down the street and I pass by this guy on the cell phone. And I do one of these. I pass by and I go, Marcus? It just came out. Not Chef Samuelson, not, Mr. Marcus, but just Marcus. And it was him. And the other time I met him was in his restaurant, Red Rooster, in Harlem, tying back to Harlem in New York. And someone else that I admire, and I think that's because we have similar backgrounds. We both started out as professional models, and then we crossed over and went into food and being a chef, is Barbara Smith, who's recently, passed away. But she was a trailblazer. She was known as the Black Martha Stewart, but that woman could cook anything, make anything. Very regal in her delivery, very personable, right, Devin?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I literally.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Yeah. She's one of my favorites, and Marcus, just hats off how he infuses different culinary backgrounds from, his grandparents to his African roots to anything American. He's an awesome chef for me. Just those two are my most influential culinary inspirations.
I have to add something about B. Smith. I thought I hated bread pudding until I went into a restaurant and had some, and it was so good that I was hooked ever since. So the way she made it was what I liked.
Yes. And it's funny that you said that, Sharon, because I am going to do a tribute to her on my television show, my cooking show, before the season ends. So hopefully that'll be airing in the springtime.
So you know what? We're getting really close to the end time. So I want you guys to kind of just let everyone know really quickly what you guys are doing coming up. What's in store for you? So let's go with you, Angela.
Okay. So Culinary Kisses is the name of my company. I am 100% virtual now. So we do all virtual cooking classes. I mentioned I have 20 plus, no, 30 plus different menus that I do. If there's something special that you're interested in, we can do that too. And we do everything from private parties. It can be you and significant other. It can be your family or corporate events for team building. We do that as well. The other thing that I do now is it seems to be one or the other these days in my life, but I also film two television shows. I have both cooking shows. One is a half-hour show called Love, Life, and Spices. And after you watching this segment, you see how in love I am with different spices. I show you how to make your own spices or use particular spices and how to pair them with different foods. So I get that question a lot. It's like, I don't know how to cook, or my food's always bland and I don't know how to use spices and seasoning. So that's the purpose of that show. The other one is an hour-long show, and it's entitled From the Catwalk to the Kitchen. Model to chef, makes sense, right? It's also the title of my first cookbook available on Amazon. But From the Catwalk to the Kitchen is literally a show about the fusion between food and fashion, which are the two passions in my life. They're both available on the Taste on TV network, which you can find on Roku, or you can download the app for either Android or iPhone, or you can watch it live at tasteontv.com.
Nice.
So what about you, Devin?
So again, we are Quench Mobile Bartending. We do the private events, corporate events, beverage catering. We also do something called Quenchology, is when we teach you how to make cocktails step by steps. We print out recipe cards for you, and I show you step by step all the ingredients, how to handcraft a cocktail. And the difference between craft cocktails and any other cocktail is craft cocktails are actually handmade with all fresh ingredients and no store-bought pre-made mixers. So people often ask me, like, what's the difference between, like, what's a craft cocktail? Like, it's just a fancy word that people throw around. And that is the difference, is that you don't use pre-made mixers in craft cocktails. And that's something that we really specialize in, is not using those pre-made mixers. So yes, so we do the Quenchology, and then we also have our pre-made cocktails, in which you can order online, or you can get delivery. If you're here in a Metro Detroit area, we do deliver to most areas. We have like a 40-mile radius, which covers a lot of area in Detroit. All you have to do is text our hotline at 313-713-0902 and request a menu. And then I'll let you know everything you need to know from there. So all you have to do is text us and request that menu. And I'll let you know everything you need. And that is us. That is Quench Mobile Bartending.
And you read my mind, because I was going to ask you about what a craft cocktail was.
Yes. Yeah, so that is a craft cocktail. That is the difference, is that it's just fresh ingredients. It's handmade and it's made with fresh ingredients. So here at Quench Mobile, we hand make our syrups and we hand make our mixers, and everything is made with fresh fruits and herbs, everything.
The time went really fast because it's almost time for us to go. So thank you so much for participating in Wind Down Wednesdays, and thank you for sharing the meal and the drinks.
Yes.
Sharon, can I add one thing? This just popped in my head. I completely forgot about this. I know, right? It was like, oh, wait a minute. So I'll say it real quick. I am actually in the running to be America's favorite chef, which I am totally excited about. The information is on my Facebook page, which is culinarykisses.com, but you can vote daily for free. And I'm hoping to win. I actually get $20,000 to put toward my company. I really need and to hire people. So that's what I'm looking for, especially in times of COVID. There are a lot of people out of work. I just want to employ people and have them come on board and, of course, make money while they're doing something that they love doing. And I'll get a layout in a Bon Appetit magazine. So please vote for me as your favorite chef, Chef Angela Michelle.
Nice. So we go to your website, right? We go to your website to vote, correct?
No, you go to Facebook. You can go to my Facebook page, and right there on the main, it'll pop up. You just click the link and vote.
All right, awesome. So That's our time. Thank you guys for being with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. It was. Thank you, Sharon. And pleasure meeting you, Devin. I appreciate and enjoyed your demonstration. Yes.
Of course. Nice to meet you, Angela. And I'll be voting for you. So I'm heading up.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you. See you guys. And thank all of you for joining us today. And please stop by next Wednesday when Chef Ederic Goudet will prepare a gumbo of greens and mixologist Randall Coates will mix the perfect complimentary cocktails. And be sure to visit the DIA's website for all the Black History Month programming and exhibitions. Thank you and see you soon.